So I was listening to Environmental Coffee House's show, which is just so superb. She's so intelligent and right on with her discussions, and her research is just superb. I'd recommend her any day of the week. Anyway, they were talking about how we have such a thin sliver of a chance to make it through environmental collapse. Now, I agree with her. There's a very thin little slice that if people can do it, they'll do it. Problem is getting people to do it. But the thing that we need to focus on is all the stuff that we have been focusing on, but we need to focus on inventing ways of making electricity that we can then produce energy and store it if we need to in batteries. Now you say, oh, that means lithium mining. Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, somewhere along the line, we're going to have to mine to put stuff in to take stuff out of another place. So instead of having fossil fuel deliver all of our energy, we have electricity. People say, well, that means there's nuclear energy is the only thing that's left. Uranium is just as much of a difficult thing to get as anything else. It's also a very scarce and finite mineral that we need. So nuclear power is not the answer because it needs something that will be gone after a while. But my idea is wind and water power. I've talked a lot about wind power. Let's talk a little bit about hydro, how that works. We don't want to ruin the land and the canyons by putting up dams and damming up the water and have most of it evaporate away. The Greeks taught us how to store water, and they did it in the most intelligent ways. They dug huge underground, below the city, water reservoirs, and they stored all the water under the city, and they kept it under lock and key so nobody could get to it, even in war, so that the water was always there. So why don't we do the same thing? In all the big cities, we could build huge underground reservoirs way down so that they stay cool all the time, they don't evaporate, and we have a good source of clean, drinkable water no matter what's happening up top. There's enough big cities around the U.S. to put up thousands of these reservoirs and use them. We could also use it in conjunction with power. If we could find a way to pump the water up to a high skyscraper and then let it fall back down, making electricity. But we need electricity to pump the water up to the top. That's the only problem with my plan is that how do you make enough power, or where do you get power to pump the water up and then make it pay for itself? Be efficient enough. We are in a sticky situation, very small, little time scale to fix what's wrong. We don't have much time at all. And people, I tell you, you're buying bigger and bigger and bigger vehicles all the time. I see it constantly. Since you can't get used vehicles around the Bay Area right now, they're very hard to find. And you're probably going to get into a scam of some sort if you do answer an ad. Yes, I'm still looking for my vehicle. I'm still looking for a vehicle. Yes, but living without one, you can do it if you live in a city. But we need to learn to buy small, pre-used vehicles with good mileage. Living in a small footprint, a small house, letting the land go back to nature in some places so that there's some natural areas for birds to get food from, and other animals that are wild that are just barely hanging on. They may have a little bit more area they could live in. You just have to think of everything, the planet, the animals, the humans. How are we going to do this? But the big problem has to be overpopulation. 8 billion, we're just that close to 8 billion people. We can't do it. It can't be sustained. The earth can take 1 billion people and sustain it pretty much. But 8 billion, 9 billion, 10 billion, 11 billion isn't going to work. Every one of those people are going to want a car and a place to live. Bicycle. But we're all waiting for somebody else to do something. You see, that's the problem. And if we keep waiting, we'll wait ourselves right into 2.7 degrees C, which is the latest forecast by 2100. A lot of people, I understand you think that the average is much higher than that already. I'm just going by the science and what the science says. Doesn't mean I always believe it, but in this case, I think it's pretty close from The reason is because of where you get your measurements from. They're gotten from way down underground, 6 feet, in a enclosed container that the average temperature will stay until the actual air temperature rises for a long time and stays higher. Then those meters then will show a rise in temperature around the planet, and it'll show it in how long it took to get that rise. So don't despair, but don't sit on your butt either. It's time that we all do something. Smaller houses, live closer to work, store rainwater for planting in the summer, for plants in the summer. You know, there's so many things that each individual can do. But one of the best ones is how far away you live from your work. If you're driving every day 2.5 hours, that's crazy. That's not fair to the environment. Or yourself. Man, who's making you drive that far? Why don't you just move closer until the job's over with, and then you can move wherever you need to move. It's the way I always did my business, and it was always in construction. So anyway, I appreciate all the comments, your thoughts, the ups, the downs, the new subscribers. And don't ask me what YouTube's doing with the subscribers. They certainly have disappeared, haven't they? And your comments, more important than anything else. And until next time.